Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Perfect. Yes. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Taksuranmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhuktale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jita Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakandritam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpa Tirubhyasyam Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraya Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta praya sabadrisu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamhitam Uttama-shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swastaya Namaha. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripat maham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Yat kripat maham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam class. Continuing to read from Canto number 2, chapter 2, which is entitled The Lord in the Heart. And today we're reading text number 24 to 4. We might also read 25, since 25 it doesn't have a purport, and actually the next series of verses are describing Satyaloka, and today we'll hear a little bit about the Milky Way. So text 24. Vaivasnaram Vaishvanaram Vyati Vihayasa Gataha Sushunaya Sushumnaya Brahma Patena
Patena
Shochisha
Sochisha
Vidhuta
Vidhuta
Kalko
Kalko
Atha
Atha
Harer
Hare
Udastat
Udastat
Prayati
Prayati
Chakram
Chakram
Nripa
Rupa
Shai Shumaram
Shaishumaram
Vaishvanaram Yati Vihaya Sagata
Vaishvanaram Yati Vihaya Sagata
Sushumnaya Brahma Patena Shochisha
Naya Brahma Patena Suchisha
Viduta Kalkota Harer Udastat
Viduta Kalkota Hare Rudastat
Prayati Chakram Nripa Shai Shumaram
Prayati Chakram Rupa Shaishumaram
Vaishvanaram Yati Vihaya Sagata
Vaishvanaram Yati Vihaya Sagata
Sushumnaya Brahma Patena Shochisha
Maya Brahma Patena Shoshisha
Vidhuta Kalko Taharer Udastat
Viduta Kalkota Hare Rudastat
Prayati Chakram Nripa Shaishu Maram
Prayati Chakram Rupa Shaishumaram
Vaishvanaram Yati Vihaya Sagata
Vaishvanaram Yati Vihaya Sagata
Sushumnaya Brahmapatena Shochisha
Maya Brahma Patena Shoshicha
Vidhuta Kalkota Harer Udastat
Viduta Kalkota Hare Rudastat
Prayati Chakram Nripa Shaishumaram
Prayati Chakram Nupashaishumaram Vaishvanaram Yati Vihaya Sagata
Vaishvanaram Yati Vihaya Sagata
Sushunmaya Brahma Patena Shoshisha
Sushumnaya Brahmapatena Shochisha
Kalkota Hare Rudastat
Vidhutta Kalkota Harer Udastat
Prayati Chakram Nupashaishumaram
Prayati Chakram Nripa Shaishumaram Vaishvanaram,
Vaishvanaram,
the controlling deity of fire.
the controlling deity of fire.
Yati,
Yati
goes.
goes
Vihayasa,
Vihayasa
by the path of the sky.
by the path of the sky.
And in bracket, the Milky Way.
The Milky Way.
Gataha,
Gataha,
by passing over.
by passing over.
Sushumnaya,
Sushumnaya,
by the Susumna.
by the Susumna.
Brahma,
Brahma,
Brahmaloka,
Brahmaloka,
Patena,
Patena,
on the way to
on the way to
Shochisha,
Shoshicha,
illuminating,
illuminating,
Vidhuta,
Viduta,
being washed off,
being washed off,
Kalkaha,
Kalkaha,
dirt,
dirt,
Atha,
Atha,
thereafter,
thereafter,
Harehe,
Hare,
of Lord Hari,
of the Lord Hari,
Udastat,
Dastat,
upwards,
upward,
Prayati,
Prayati,
does reach,
does reach,
Chakram,
Chakram,
circle,
circle,
Nripa,
Nipa,
O King,
O King,
Shai Sumaram,
Shaishumaram,
named Shishumara.
Name Shishumara.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Jai.
O King, this is of course Srila Shukadeva Goswami speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. O King, when such a mystic passes over the Milky Way by the illuminating Sushumna to reach the highest planet, Brahmaloka, he goes first to Vaishvarana, the planet of the deity of fire, wherein he becomes completely cleansed of all contaminations. And thereafter he still goes higher to the circle of Shishumara to relate with Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead. Kindly repeat after me. O King,
O King,
when such a mystic passes over
when such a mystic passes over
the Milky Way
the Milky Way
by the illuminating
by the illuminating
Sushumna
Susumna
to reach the highest planet,
to reach the highest planet,
Brahmaloka,
Brahmaloka,
he goes first to Vaishvanara,
he goes first to Vaishvanara,
the planet of the deity of fire,
the planet of the deity of fire,
wherein he becomes completely cleansed
wherein he becomes completely cleansed
of all contaminations.
of all contaminations,
And thereafter,
and thereafter
he still goes higher
he still goes higher
to the circle of Shishumara,
to the cycle of
Shishu,
Shishumara,
to relate with Lord Hari,
to relate with Lord Hari,
the personality of Godhead.
the personality of God.
Purport. The polar star of the universe and and the circle thereof is called the Shishumara circle. And therein the local residential planet of the personality of Godhead, Kshirodakshai Vishnu, is situated. Before reaching there, the mystic passes over the Milky Way to reach Brahmaloka. And while going there, he reaches Vaishvanara Loka, where the demigod controls fire. On Vaishvanara Loka, the yogi becomes completely cleansed of all dirty things, of all dirty sins acquired while in contact with the material world. The Milky Way in the sky is indicated herein as the way leading to Brahmaloka, the highest planet of the universe. Translation again, O King, when such a mystic passes over the Milky Way by the illuminating Sushumna to reach the highest planet, Brahmaloka, he goes first to Vaishvanara, the planet of the deity of fire, wherein he becomes completely cleansed of all contaminations. And thereafter he still goes higher to the circle of Shishumara to relate with Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead. So we get some information as to how yogis, those who practice the yogic process to elevate themselves, this mechanical process, there is a particular system or way by which one can travel actually in the universe to get out of the universe. Universe is very intricate, very complicated, very elaborate arrangement, just like this very body. This very body that we have, we don't think about it, but it's very intricate. Intricate means very detailed. So many parts to this body. I was just reading how in one drop of water, you know how many molecules are in one drop of water? It is estimated that in one drop of water there are trillions of molecules. That means like billions and billions of molecules in just one drop of water. And our body mostly is made up of water, maybe 80 to 90% water. So even the smallest unit in the material world, atom, is also very very developed. Scientists used to think that atom is very simple, made of proton and neutron, but they have since discovered that it is very more complex, more involved, more developed than the largest city in the world. So we can connect this actually with what we were reading in the previous chapter regarding the Virat Purusha, the universal form of the Lord, that when we study nature, when we take notice of how this whole material arrangement, so there's all kinds of descriptions. We're reading some details of what yogis do, how they travel. So the Prabhupada says at the end of the purport here that the Milky Way is the path that one follows. Why? Because the Milky Way, as we know, is connected with the pastime of Lord Vamana. Isn't it? When Lord Vamanadev, we hear description of this universe, the whole cosmic manifestation is separate from the material world, is separate from the spiritual world, and divided, as we know, by Virja, by the causal ocean, described as the causal ocean. And so when Vamanadev pierced the covering of the universe in that Leela with Bali Maharaj, then only a few drops of water entered the material universe. These drops of water, that is water from the causal ocean, and that Milky Way therefore is is connecting one to that causal ocean, which is dividing the material world to the spiritual world. Yeah. And that Milky Way is actually the Ganges, the Ganga, which is being carried from the highest planet, from the top most level of the universe down to this planet. So this is being described here, and also the residence of Kshirodakshay Vishnu. All the planets in the material world are material except one. This polar star is referred to here as the planet of Kshirodakshay Vishnu. Yes. So we can see by this short description here that here there is mention about the demigod controlling fire. Means one has to be completely purified from all kinds of contamination before having darshan of Lord Hari. So the next few verses are connected with this description here. So we'll just continue. The mysteries of the universe revealed. So, text 25, yeah. Tad Vishwanabhim Tvati Vartya Vishnor Aniyasa Virajenat Manaika Namaskritam Brahmavidam Upaiti Kalpayusho Yad Vibudha Ramante. Translation. This Shishumara is the pivot for the turning of the complete universe and is called the navel of Vishnu, Garbhadakshay Vishnu. The yogi alone goes beyond this circle of Shishumara and attains the planet Maharloka, where purified saints like Bhrigu enjoy a duration of 4,300 million solar years. That's a long time. So that means, what is it? That's 4,300,000,000 years, I suppose. Yes. Too many, there's 6 zeros. So, no, there's 9. This planet is worshipable even for the saints who are transcendentally situated. So, there's all these higher planets where great personalities, saintly persons like Bhrigu Maharaj is referred to here, they live for such duration of life. And the next text, 26. Atho anantasya mukhanalena dandahyamanam sa niriksha vishvam niryati siddheshvara yustadhisnyam yadvai parardhyam tad uparamishtyam. At the time of the final devastation of the complete universe, which means the end of the duration of Brahma's life, not his day, his life, a flame of fire emanates from the mouth of Ananta, who's at the bottom, from the bottom of the universe. Ananta Sesh is holding the universe. The yogi sees all the planets of the universe burning to ashes, and thus he leaves for Satyaloka. It's like when there's a flood, you go to some higher place. And thus he leaves for Satyaloka by airplanes used by the great purified souls. They have airplanes. The duration of life in Satyaloka is calculated to be, well, I think we're getting to trillions here. I think 15,480,000,000,000 billion years. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 zeros. No, that's a long time. So purport gives some more information here. It is indicated herein that the residents of Maharloka, where the purified living entities or demigods possess a duration of life calculated to be 4,300,000,000 years, 4,300,000,000 years, solar years, have airships by which they reach Satyaloka. The topmost planet of the universe. Satyaloka is Brahmaloka. In other words, the Srimad Bhagavatam gives us many clues about other planets far, far away from us, which modern planes and spacecraft cannot reach, even by imaginary speed. The statements of Srimad Bhagavatam are accepted by great acharyas like Sridhar Swami, Ramanujacharya, and Balabhacharya. Yeah. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically accepts Srimad Bhagavatam as the spotless Vedic authority, and as such, no sane man can ignore the statements of Srimad Bhagavatam when it is spoken by the self-realized soul Srila Shukadeva Goswami, who follows in the footsteps of his great father Srila Vyasadeva, the compiler of all Vedic literatures. So even though the descriptions like we're reading now of planets unknown to us, planets situated trillions of miles away, because it is accepted by very learned, very advanced, self-realized souls. Therefore, we accept these statements from the Bhagavatam. In the creation of the Lord, there are many wonderful things we can see with our own eyes every day and night, but we are unable to reach them equipped by modern materialistic science. We should not therefore depend on the fragmentary authority of materialistic science for knowing things beyond the range of scientific purview. For a common man, both modern science and Vedic wisdom are simply to be accepted because none of the statements either of modern science or of Vedic literature can be verified by him. So Prabhupada is making the point that for ordinary person who doesn't know so many things, whatever scientists will say, he will generally accept, of course, because scientists are fallible, they're not perfect, so they may not always be analyzing things as they are, whereas the Vedic literatures are coming directly from perfect source. So Prabhupada continues here actually. The alternative for a common man is to believe either of them or both of them. The Vedic way of understanding, however, is more authentic because it has been accepted by the acharyas, who are not only faithful and learned men, but are also liberated souls without any of the flaws of conditioned souls. The modern scientists, however, are conditioned souls, liable to so many errors and mistakes. Therefore, the safe side is to accept the authentic version of Vedic literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam, which is accepted unanimously by the great acharyas. In the context of the moon landing, which was a very big event when Prabhupada was in America, that's when this so-called landing on the moon took place. The whole world was glued on television because they were showing it on television. And I think, we were speaking about this. There was one devotee who did not believe, not Upendra, who was one devotee actually. One devotee was very much following science and very very much convinced that that the scientists could actually arrange for to land on the moon, and he was very enthusiastic. And when the day came, because already the Apollo, I think, had been sent, and then the time was announced that okay, at this time the astronauts will be landing on the moon. So this was like big publicity all over the world. So on this time, on this day, everyone can watch on television, you can see it happening. So this devotee brought the television to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, you don't believe it. I'll show you. Right here, Please. So Prabhupada said, okay, I'll watch. Prabhupada didn't look at television. But he agreed to watch this landing on the moon, the history. So, everyone all over the world practically is like glued to this like historical event. And then, because prior to that, Prabhupada had, this devotee had arguments with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada every time was telling him, it's not possible, not possible. Okay, here's the television, Prabhupada, please sit down, and you can see with your own eyes. So Prabhupada was sitting there, and the whole landing on the moon was being filmed, and this devotee was like very excited. See, they're landing on the moon now. So Prabhupada was just very quiet and watching. And then after watching it, Prabhupada said they did not land on the moon. Then Prabhupada explained that actually because simply on the strength that in the Vedas it mentions that number one, the moon planet is is not an ordinary planet; it's a heavenly planet. And also this moon planet is not where scientists think it is. It is described as being further away than the sun. So on the strength of the statements of the Vedas, Prabhupada, as he is making the point here at the end of the purport, the statements of the Vedas, although they may appear beyond our ability to understand, although sometimes it may also appear to be contradictory. There are contradictory means. The famous example that the stool of an animal is impure. If we come in contact with the stool of an animal, then we become contaminated. That's why in the Vedic culture, which is unknown in the West, when we evacuate in the Vedic culture, if you evacuate, you become contaminated. Therefore, you have to take shower. So that's unknown in the Western country. Totally unknown. So many basic things are totally unknown.
India also.
India also.
So many people don't know.
Yeah. I mean, for devotees, it's like unthinkable, right? So that statement is there in the Shastras, and we know that the stool is like you become contaminated. But the cow dung, or the stool of cow, is purifying. How is that possible? Isn't it? I mean, it's the classical example that is given, which is same thing with bone of an animal. You touch the bone of an animal, you become contaminated. But every day we blow the conch shell, which is the bone of an animal. So there are so-called contradictions in the Vedas, or there are so-called descriptions like we're reading now, of people living for trillions of years, billions of years, trillions of years. And, Milky Way is like the descent of the Ganges water coming from, you speak to ordinary people about this, I'm sorry, I have something to do. I don't have time to talk to you. You cannot believe these statements, but so moral of the story is that the statements of the Vedas, which are accepted by such elevated personalities, great sages, accepted and promoted by Srila Vyasadeva, by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who see things and who can understand things beyond most ordinary human beings. So therefore we accept these descriptions. Yeah. Any comment?
Some places they don't touch cow. In villages also they don't touch cow.
In village they don't touch cows.
No, cow dung they don't touch.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, when I went to Cambodia for the first time, quite some years back, maybe 10, 15 years ago, they have beautiful cows. Cambodia is very similar to India in many ways because majority of people are still living in villages, and they have beautiful cows that originally with a hump, come from India, like Deshi cows, because many years ago, many centuries ago, Brahmanas actually traveled to Cambodia, and they helped to build, on the request of kings from Cambodia, to build all kinds of amazing temples, of which we can still have darshan, like Angkor Wat, world famous temple. Before COVID, millions, I think every year, maybe 2 or 3 million foreigners from different countries would come just to have darshan. So, so yeah. Brahmanas have, the point was that although so much of the Vedic culture is even present there in Cambodia, we can see through all of these temples, but because of historical events that took place where many aspects of the Vedic culture were lost, so when you go in the villages, same point you're making, people don't, consider cow dung to be dirty. So they but in the Vedic culture, we learn differently, and it's proven as well. Yeah. Okay. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanandi.